another thing that really has got me over the break when you were not here. And it's a scandal in my opinion. These Taipan helicopters, the government says it's going to bury 45 Taipan helicopters rather than let Ukraine have them to rescue wounded people from the battlefield. It really needs them, says it wants them. It's going to bury them in the dirt instead. And we now see the first of these helicopters, stripped of its parts, actually being prepared for this burial. The government says it's too unsafe to give to Ukraine. They can't fly properly. Your response?
Well, I think this government is just bananas on defence. I can't follow it at all. They made wonderful speeches in opposition and I thought they were great, but this is among a panoply of insane government decisions on defence. This is the most insane. We won't give the Ukrainians bushmasters because we'd have to pay to build a few more. We won't give them the Hawkei vehicles because apparently they skid at high speed. So the Ukrainians dealing with Russian bombardment, we're protecting them from this. This is what the Ukrainians want. Instead, our support for Ukrainians is to send AWAC aircraft to protect German airspace. Then we've got these Taipan helicopters, which are used by a dozen other countries and which, you know, I think they're rubbish helicopters. I think we always should have gone for Black Hawks, but in any event, they're much better than nothing. Ukrainian soldiers are dying on the front line because they can't be evacuated. We won't send them the Hornet fighters that we disposed of, and we won't send them the helicopters, even though the Ukrainians want them. Now, I have been following defence systematically for more than 40 years in this country, and I have never seen it more incoherent or indecipherable than it is right now under this government.
It's a promise to, you know, we will stand with Ukraine. I guess it's like we will, you know, stand with the stage 3 tax cuts. Just put it in that little basket. I mean, it's just, I find it disgusting, incomprehensible, and the arguments were given are absolute. You can wipe your backside with them. But to the other war, Greg, apologise for that profanity, but I do get so angry with letting Ukraine in the lurch with this feeble lying about these helicopters. To the other war, I think it's got really much more dangerous. First you had Hamas terrorists, backed by Iran, attack Israel. Then you had Houthi rebels, backed by Iran, attack shipping in the Red Sea on the way to, obviously, the Suez Canal, set a British tanker on fire just over the weekend. And now you've got Iran-backed rebels, or maybe even Iran itself, killing 3 American soldiers in a suicide drone attack on a base in Jordan on the Syrian border. Joe Biden says we're going to take action here. Here he is.
We shall respond.
How dangerous is this?
Oh, Andrew, this is the most dangerous period we've been in since World War II, which just plays up the insanity of the Albanese government doing nothing on defence. But I don't want to become John Stone like here and quote my own column, but I've said for a long time now.
Hello, John.
One day, yeah, I love John and everything, but he used to quote himself all the time. One day, if we have a simultaneous crisis with Russia, Iran and China, we can't cope. The West is in desperate existential trouble. So now we've got Russia and Iran, both simultaneous. Iran has taken a clear and deliberate decision to escalate conflict. It's got all its proxies attacking the West. All of our enemies have worked out how to do grey zone conflict and conflict with proxies or with their own folks disguised in non-uniforms or whatever, which means that we never retaliate. Nobody in the West is doing anything significant to beef up their own defence capabilities, not even the Americans, not even the Brits. And our enemies are getting bolder and bolder. Now, we sustained ourselves in the Cold War because we had unity of purpose, clear leadership, and our enemies thought we might fight. We don't have unity of purpose, we don't have clear leadership, and our enemies are starting to doubt whether we would fight or not.
Plus, of course, there's been a technological advantage, you know, the spread of technology through the, and also asymmetrical warfare. Houthi drones, they're sending drones, and you find a British warship doesn't have the weaponry to attack them on land.
That technology is spread everywhere but Australia, Andrew, because
I forgot.
You know, we don't have a single armed drone in our entire defence force. You know it, I know it, people who read comic books know it, everybody knows it except the Australian Defence Force.
Greg Sheridan, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate that.